Bonus pod, boom, boom, boom. Welcome to YNTA this week. In here for a second episode of the week. We're coming at you hot with lots of content. And not only that, we got some of the boys back. Boys, introduce yourself. Y'all know them. Y'all love them. Take it away, guys.
Yo, 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 this is Z to the A to the C to the H, Zach Osborne back on the pod.
This is, we're going to edit all this, I hope. This is One-Eyed Will in the spirit of Bobby Firmino, the one and the only.
Listener, you can't see it, but Will actually gouged his own eye out for this bit. So he might have to hop off to go to the hospital.
You've heard of Left Eye Lopez, but this is the same idea.
Not even missing a beat, the boys are back, and they're here to talk about a game. First opening match of the Champions League, took it to those Frenchies at home, 3-2 victory over Paris Saint-Germain, sponsored by Air Jordan. Will, who stood out to you in this match? What did you like most? Take it away. Tell me what.
So I loved this match. Would never in doubt, even though we won in stoppage time, never in doubt. We dominated from start to finish. Their goals were crap goals. Man of the match, maybe everybody. The sexy pick is James Milner. I love Gini Wijnaldum in that game. Loved everything he did. Loved Jordan Henderson, obviously. Everything he was like playing rugby. Like he wasn't even playing soccer. He was playing rugby, and PSG didn't know how to handle it. I loved Andy Robertson as usual. I thought those three really had probably the standout performances. I loved also, though, my favorite part of the match, other than Bobby's celebration, which was the best thing ever, was Mane putting Neymar on his ass right outside the 18. It was great. Loved it.
That was absolutely wonderful. Almost as wonderful as our 9,000 corner kicks to start the game. Zach, we had a hot start, as I just referenced not 2.5 seconds ago. And a person who contributed to that was someone who was making his first start of the season, and that was Daniel Sturridge. What did you think of Daniel Sturridge in this match and how he changed how we play?
Yeah, so I was pretty surprised to hear that his name was on the team sheet. I mean, I knew Firmino was a doubt because of the eye problem that apparently wasn't a problem. But, at the same time, like hearing that Daniel Sturridge was going to start this match, I immediately thought back to like the super clutch goal from the Europa League final and just all of the European nights that he's been a part of. And there was just sort of like this sense of calm. Right now we're not sure what to feel whenever Sturridge is a part of the team because we know about his inconsistencies and his injury problems, but it just kind of felt appropriate and right for whatever reason. He has a wealth of European experience. We know that when he is fit and firing, he is among the best strikers in the world. And unfortunately, he's not always fit and firing. But for some reason, when I heard that he was going to be a part of the occasion, I didn't really question that at all. I was just excited to see what he was going to bring, and he didn't disappoint at all. His goal was sort of a classic Sturridge confident header, getting in between the center backs, finding his space, exploiting it, and finishing like we know he can. And we saw that man do the damn dance. It's been too long, and it was wonderful.
It's back. It's been missed. It's been dearly, dearly missed. And I know in our preview episode, I had said that I kind of didn't want him to start. Not that I was disappointed to see him start, but I know that his movement and the way he plays now after all these injuries is a lot different than how we see Bobby Firmino played. But you're absolutely right. That his goal was a classic striker's goal, drifting between the center backs, getting on the end of a cross, and just tucking it away. And he almost had another one. And I think we didn't play how we usually play with Bobby because we saw a marked difference in how we attacked when Bobby came in. But not to say that it was bad. It was actually really good, especially in the second half when he was getting more involved in the play. He was playing more false nine than even Bobby does, just dropping way deep into the midfield. We were almost playing a diamond in the midfield. It led to a lot of creation, a lot of ball movement, and just overrunning their midfield that wasn't really there. And kicking it back to you, Zach, the midfield was good. Will talked about all three of our midfielders that were absolute class, but I know we conceded twice, and you can talk about that, but was our defending as good as it has been this season, or did you see anything worrying, or did you see anything improving?
I mean, Will mentioned that both of their goals felt kind of like garbage goals, sloppy. They got a little lucky. We got a little distracted and maybe weren't quite as tidy as we've been for the majority of the season. Gotta be honest, I did not watch a majority of the match live. I was given a pretty mean lecture on the French enlightened philosophers of the 18th century. So I had the phone propped up, while I was working the classroom, and saw several of the key moments. I have gone back, of course, and studied the footage, but I don't necessarily think that anyone made any grave mistakes. PSG is a really, really good team. On a couple of occasions, we got a tad bit sloppy, made a couple of mistakes, weren't quite as, incisive as we tend to be. And they took advantage of it because they've got some world-class players. But I don't think, at least from what I've seen, there's no one that stands out that's like super deserving of harsh criticism. I don't know. I'm interested to see what you guys have to say because I feel like you probably saw a good bit more of the match than I did.
Will, any thoughts?
I kind of thought, honestly, I kind of going back to Sturridge, I thought that, we saw in preseason him playing like that withdrawn, like almost a 10, like a 10 and a half kind of role. And I think that's a good setup when Salah is on the field. It allowed Salah and Mane to push forward. I do think if there was a game, I don't think Virgil had a bad game, but if you could classify any of his games so far for Liverpool as bad, this might be one of them. You just didn't really see both their goals were just from like kind of chaos in the box, and we haven't really dealt with that, especially this season. I mean, we haven't conceded a ton, but it's since he's come on board that really hasn't happened. And so it was kind of some nervy moments there. I was just rewatching before we started some of the goals. Meunier's goal was a crap goal. It just like you can't stop it. And I kind of felt that way about their second as well. It just was really unfortunate. But, at the end of the day, you get the 3 points, you move on. It doesn't really matter how you win as long as you do.
Yeah, and I guess that's the price we pay for getting a penalty go our way because Cavani was offsides on their first goal, and he played the ball, and that should have been called. Completely influenced the play. Second goal came from a goal kick that should have been a corner kick. So 2 times that the linesman on that end kind of screwed us over. I agree with you kind of about Virgil and Joe Gomez. They weren't spectacular, but they didn't really have that much to do. And just because they weren't spectacular doesn't mean they weren't good. They were a lot better on the ball, I think, than defensively. They were making a lot of the penetrating passes that our midfield wasn't. And that if that was one criticism about the midfield is that they're not kind of breaking the lines and finding players in those spaces apart from out wide. And like I mentioned earlier today in our post-production or pre-production text thread that Bobby's goal came from a Joe Gomez pass to Virgil van Dijk, who passed it to Bobby, which is insane, and I love it. Defensively, I'll also praise Trent and Andy, like y'all did, because they completely marked Neymar and Mbappe out of the match. Mbappe scored because he was gifted a goal, but Neymar was nowhere. Neymar got hip-checked by Milner, and was done. He didn't track back. He didn't threaten attacking wise, really. I don't think he even had a shot on target. And if he did, it wasn't memorable. Mm-hmm. And there's an interesting piece by Jonathan Wilson on The Guardian about why that might be and how PSG kind of played suicidally by leaving their front three up and them not actually doing anything. So it double backfired. But I think praise has to go to our outside backs defensively and attacking wise, because Trent had the entire right side to himself because Neymar wasn't doing anything. Which brings us to our next point. Will, Trent was doing a lot of the attacking, but we're not seeing the best out of Mohamed Salah on that side. So what do you think is up with him exactly? Not in a bad way, but we're not seeing him like we saw him last season or his season with Roma. So what do you think is the reason for this dip in form?
I mean, it was bound to happen, right? I mean, you can't have as history has shown, at least over the past decade, at least, you're not, unless your name is Messi or Ronaldo, you're not going to consistently put out the kind of season that Mo Salah put out last season. You know, everybody slumps. Like, it's not that he's not scored goals. Like, he's done, you know, relatively well. He's done fine. I'm looking up his stats right now. I mean, he's got two goals and an assist in the Premier League this year. I mean, you know, it's not maybe 5 or whatever that he had at this time, but, you know, 2 goals, 1 assist, and 5 appearances. It's not like he's not in that big of a slump. You know, it's just not last year. And so I think I've seen a couple of like, oh, what's going on with Salah too, like on Twitter and stuff. And I think it's nothing. It's just, it happens to everybody. You know, he wasn't going to be Mo Salah 2017, 2018 again. I still think he'll get at least 15 goals this season. I mean, he's obviously, teams are scared of him, but they're also doubling up on him, which allows Bobby and Mane to, and also our midfield. I mean, Milner's done incredibly, and they got more room. Trent has more room because they're marking Salah. I think you know, that's the payoff, is that, you know, Salah's not doing good, but other people on the team are doing better because maybe teams are focusing on him too much.
And plus he had a perfectly good goal ruled out for a very, very soft foul. Yeah. So for the third time that linesman screwed us over. So let's not have that guy at that end again. Zach, Salah not scoring. Mane didn't get a goal, but Mane played well. But these past few matches, we've kind of seen some more, I don't want to say selfish, but not as selfless as we saw last season with the fluid passes around the box. And that's one, because they're crowding the area, but two, we're holding on to the ball a little bit more. Do you think that's something chemistry wise? Do you think it's something tactical, or what do you think it will come back to bite us further down in the season? I guess is my big question.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. Like the front three don't seem to be quite on the same page yet this season. And it sounds strange to say because we're sitting on, 6 wins?
Yeah, 6 wins in a row.
And, you know, it's weird to be like launching criticisms of the front three and saying that they're playing selfishly when we have, you know, a perfect record in all competitions so far this year. But I mean, it's clear to see, especially in the league, we've mostly won ugly, and a lot of times we have been left talking about the selfishness of the players, or, you know, especially I feel like Mane has come up more than the others, and I hate to criticize him because I feel like Mane is kind of coming into his own and seeing that if Salah is going to be the player who's most aggressively marked, Mane knows he's going to have the chance to step up and find some space and take advantage of that. But at the same time, we've seen him on several occasions make the wrong choice in that decisive moment where he could clearly make the easy, you know, outlet pass into space where, you know, one of the other, you know, players in the front three is going to have the easy goal, and instead he tries to take the shot himself. So, I mean, it's hard for me to say what is actually going on and how it should be improved. But to be honest, like, I'm not like panicking over that or reading into it too much. It's still early. We're still winning.
Right.
You know, I'll probably sound the alarm bells, as I'm prone to do, the first time this really bites us or causes us to drop points. But for now, we are winning ugly, and even, you know, as far as I can tell from this match, I wouldn't even call this an ugly win.
No.
We were still the better team and deserved the 3 points, absolutely. And I feel like everyone who watched the match, you know, can reach that conclusion. So I don't think it's time to panic. I do think the front three will find that chemistry that they had last season. And I agree with Will that there's no reason to be all that alarmed about Salah's rather minor dip in form. And I think Will was, when it came to Salah, was probably the wisest member of the pod in preaching restraint and to expect. I think he was the first person in our group to say, look, guys, Salah is not going to produce at the same level he did last year, and that is no reason to panic. We will be fine. So I am trying to just sort of center myself and try to think like Will Caves.
I'm sorry. I think we had some technical difficulty. Could you repeat your last few sentences? No, so to your question, I noticed that at the tail end of last year, though, especially as Salah started going for the record, you started seeing him and Mane to an extent be a little bit more selfish. It's starting to creep up more. I have noticed it. I've noticed it more from Salah, though. Honestly, he'll take way too many touches to try to, at the top of the box, to try to get it on his left foot and get a good angle when Mane is open or Firmino could be played in. You know, that's just part of it. When you're a prolific goal scorer, you want to score, and I think these guys just want to score. Like, they know that we're good enough now in defense to, or maybe they can take a few more risks. They can try to, you know, beat people. They can try to, you know, get a little fancy. And I think we haven't lost yet. Obviously, you know, I'm not trying to be too overconfident, but it's not been too terrible. So it's hard for me to get too worried right now. We're on a 6-game winning streak. Now, of course, we might lose this weekend or something, and I'll eat those words. But for right now, I'm not too worried.
It's nice that the problem is that we're not scoring 6 like we're used to. That, like, we're used to seeing such perfection from our front three that anytime it doesn't go as planned, it's kind of like, well, what's going on? And I think a lot of people are kind of overreacting, especially about Salah. I know there was the big kerfuffle about him throwing the bottle after the goal, even though he had celebrated clearly before that. And I agree, he's taking too many touches, but that's just because he's trying to score to play his way out of this funk that he feels like he's in. And I'm sure he's feeling the pressure of being the best player in the league last season. And there's so much expectation on him that I think he wants so badly to score that sometimes he hangs on to it a little too long or tries a bit of an ambitious shot.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's something, it's not that we're missing it, we just haven't addressed it yet. I feel like the real storyline here is that we finally have a defense that is good enough and solid enough and performing at such a high level that we can afford to have a front three that's not scoring 6 every match.
Oh, yeah.
Right. We were completely reliant upon that at this point last season because our defense was still a bit of a mess. And now we are very comfortable at the back. And we can, you know, be confident in the fact that they are going to keep us in matches. And so now we have that luxury that our front three cannot quite be on the same page or be playing a tad bit selfishly or whatever it is. And we're still winning matches because we are now multifaceted and can win matches in different ways. Damn, it feels good to be a gangster.
Oh, it's so good. You know, and we won this match without Firmino playing most of this game. We won this match without Naby Keita playing. I would say our defense was not awesome, but I mean our fullbacks were great, but we just looked a little shaky. I love these kind of wins. I'll win 3-2 all day long. It's so much fun. It just makes for a nervy game. But I was looking while you were talking, Zach. We're talking about maybe Salah not producing or whatever. Firmino has 3 goals, 2 assists. Mane has 4 goals. Like Salah has 2 goals, 1 assist. Like this production is still there. It's just maybe spread out a little bit more. Dandy Andy has 3 assists. This is all competitions on who scored is what I'm looking at. Milner has 2 goals, 2 assists. The goals are coming. They're just not all coming from Salah. I'm not worried. Also, to the bottle throwing incident, you can clearly see in that clip that he is just sitting back down from celebrating. And
right.
If you've ever been in the position where you've played, I mean, I've never played professionally, but you play in a competitive match and you just suck and you get pulled off, you maybe come out of the game, and even you might win, your team might score like they did, and it's a cool thing, but you still feel like crap. That's what happens. You throw stuff, you have to vent some way. You're stuck on the bench. It's not like he can,
Okay, so Salah threw a bottle. Is that? I have not seen this.
Yeah,
so
go ahead. I'll let you take it, Will.
Oh, so there's a clip of Klopp celebrating Firmino's goal, and he goes and hugs Matip and comes back. He's cheering, and in the background you can see Salah sitting. He cuts into frame as he sits down, and he throws a bottle down in frustration. And a lot of people are kind of saying Mo Salah is mad because he didn't win the game. Mo Salah is, is he discontent at Liverpool? There's been a couple of those.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous.
It's crap.
Oh, yeah, that's dumb.
Yeah, he's very unhappy on a 6-game win streak.
And I'm going to correct you. He hugged Joel Matip, but Matip had no idea that was coming. Matip was so surprised that Klopp kind of jumped into him, and I think that's the funniest part of that clip to me.
Matip is usually surprised when anything comes at him, and especially playing defense.
No, I mean, we were kind of having the same conversation about Mane last season when Mane wasn't scoring. And again, it's not like Salah's not contributing. He's a huge factor in our attack, even when he's not scoring. He draws so much attention and creates so much, and fortunately had that bad pass, but his combination play down the wing and creating space for Trent, creating space for the other attackers, he's still very much a part of our attack. And to go back to what Zach mentioned earlier, confidence. We're confident in our defense. We're confident in our own ability, which is why we're taking people on one-on-one. We're taking more shots. And we're confident that we're going to win no matter what. We didn't used to win matches like this. This would usually end 2-2. Even last season, when we concede late, our motivation would drop. The team would deflate a little bit, and we'd probably give up another huge chance, which we kind of did to Draxler, but we blocked it essentially at the source. But we had belief from the moment that their tying goal went in that we were going to get the winner. And that's a testament to the togetherness and the spirit of this team. We haven't seen something like that from a Liverpool side in a very long time, and it's very special to witness. Mm-hmm. And you know who else is about to witness that? Southampton. Mm-hmm. Our U23s are about to get rocked. Zach, how are you feeling about this match?
I mean, I feel good. Why should I feel any other way, right?
Especially because Danny Ings can't play, and he seems to be the only player on their team worth anything at this point. So, Will, how are you feeling about that?
Southampton has kind of not even been on my radar this season. I don't think I've seen him play yet. I've watched some clips of Ings's goals, and that's cool. But I just really, when you beat PSG, it's hard to be too worried about Southampton, which probably means we'll draw. But I can't. I mean, Ryan Bertrand's our best player outside of Danny Ings. Is it really going to happen? Are we really going to lose that? I could see us just spanking them. I'm not worried about it.
Yeah, this is a match where we definitely should win, but with a busy schedule coming up, got a lot more games, 2 of them against Chelsea, 1 of them against City on the horizon. This is a match that, even though there's big things to look ahead to, that we cannot overlook. We can't lose focus, because this is kind of it's a little early to say it, but if we want to be a title contender, these are the games you win routinely. And we absolutely have to do that. And I know we've struggled with Southampton a bit in the past, not as recently, not since Mark Hughes took over, because he's not a very good manager. But I don't want to say it's a banana skin, but it's just one that where we need to show that we can go in and take care of business.
Mm-hmm. Where is
the match? Just do the damn thing.
It's at Anfield, I believe.
Let me check. But while I'm checking as to where it is,
it's at
Anfield.
Good.
Zach, do you expect to see any more rotation? I know we've got a busy schedule. We just had a match on Tuesday. Are you expecting to see more players pop in and out of the lineup?
I mean, I don't expect to see like a full squad rotation. I could see 2 or 3 or 4 players being switched out. I could see Naby Keita coming back in. I don't know, possibly Firmino getting more time. I mean, maybe not. I don't think we have any precedent this season for any major changes from match to match. I mean, Klopp could prove me wrong, but the spine of the side has been pretty consistent, and even most of the starting 11 has remained the same throughout the course of the season. Of course, now we've got the Champions League, so perhaps Klopp will deviate, but I won't really be bothered by that. We finally have some, true impact players. I'd love to see Shaqiri get more time. I'd love to see Keita come back in. Maybe Fabinho could get a run out. I would be happy to see all of that. But to be honest, I don't really know what to expect, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Well, we saw Fabinho make a cameo. We saw Shaqiri get some time. And I know we've been praising James Milner, but everyone is very quick to point to the fact that he's 32. And although they're kind of acting like that's 92, that's still not exactly a spring chicken, and he's been playing professionally for 16 years. So do you think we need to give him a little break? Because, the best way to keep him at this top level is to manage his minutes a little bit? Or do you think he is just so fit and so energized from that Ribena that he doesn't need a rest?
I don't know. Well, if you look at the fixtures, we do have Chelsea midweek in the League Cup. And if we're going to rotate, I could see maybe Milner coming out, but only to come back in and captain that game. That seems like a Milner captain kind of game. I would love to see a midfield of like Keita, Hendo, Fabinho in this game. Just smoke them. Don't give them anything and smoke them going forward. In our season preview episode, I said Fabinho may turn out to be the best of our new signings, and you haven't really seen him too much. I think if you're going to bring him on, this could be the game. I watched him against the USA over the international break, and granted, it is the USA, but our young kids are pretty good, and he looked great, except for giving up he just a couple of little things that were kind of annoying, but he looked really good, and I think if they're going to do it, it's this week. Whether that's against Southampton and Chelsea, I don't know, but it's coming soon. You may see Salah sit for Shaqiri, but I'd kind of be surprised if that happened too. We may get Bobby another slight rest, but I think mostly it'll be unchanged.
And what's your score prediction for that?
Because it's Southampton, a 3-1 seems safe. Maybe they score first and we win 3-1.
Zach, are you feeling as confident?
3-0.
I'm feeling as confident as Zach, although I don't think we will score that many. I think we'll win 2-0, and I think we'll control. I think it'll be very similar to the Brighton match, where they're just kind of in the way, and annoying, but there's never any doubt about who's going to win. And before we go, we kind of got out of the practice of asking the goofy opening question, and myself included, and I forgot to ask it at the beginning. So we'll call it the wrap question, the wrap it up question. And so this is based off of something that happened while I was overseas. I recently learned that Udinese midfielder Rolandro Mandragora was suspended one match for blasphemy. They reviewed what he said on the pitch, and it turns out he had cursed the Virgin Mary and called God a dog, and they suspended him one match. So I pose to you, what is something that you wouldn't expect? Because I would never expect a blasphemy to be a one-match ban. What is something that you wouldn't expect to be worthy of a ban that you would like to be worthy of a ban at this point? Will, I'll start with you.
I wish you hadn't. I misread your question when you texted it earlier. I thought you meant like, what's something that I wish would be a ban that's not? Which, something silly that happens. I kind of hate how players go off. So like, they'll roll around and then get carried off and jump right back in. I feel like that's, if you're hurt enough to roll around, maybe you should get at least a card or something. But one thing I really hate, and this is going to be my answer to the question you didn't ask, was when players will throw up their hands to like try to get ask for a card. That pisses me off so bad. Cavani did it against Henderson early on in the game,
like
and I wanted
40 seconds.
I wanted to come through the screen.
And they were supposed to be cracking down on that too. It's really annoying.
Yeah, I know that the commentators even said like that's supposed to be a thing that they're carding or that they're punishing, but it hadn't really happened. Yeah.
Zach, how about you? Are you down with the blasphemy?
I don't know how to answer that. Yeah, totally. I think my wait, what am I supposed to be answering exactly?
It's something that you wouldn't expect to be worthy of a one-match ban. What would you like to see?
Like the advertising video boards around the perimeter of each stadium, like near the touchline, there's the Vitality life insurance with the little weenie dog.
The dog. Oh, I hate that dog.
I think that like any player who is seen like lashing out at said dog is deserving of a multi-match ban. Because he's a really cute little weenie dog.
He's such a good boy.
Stanley is his name. I just looked it up.
I don't really know how to top those. I think the only thing that I would say, and it would be an internal punishment, is that if you hit a shot and it goes out for a throw-in, you should be banned one match by your club.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's going to wrap it up for us for this super bonus episode, Mega Plus Ultra, that you've been treated to. Let us know what weird thing you'd like to see be worthy of a one-match ban. And let us know your score predictions for this match. Let us know what you thought of our match against PSG at YNTA Podcast. If you could leave us a review on any of the podcast services that you use to listen, we would greatly appreciate it. We won't talk bad about you behind your back if you do that. And we just want to hear from you. We're lonely. We like to talk to people.
So lonely.
For Will, for Zach, for Andrew, who is stuck at dinner, and for Joseph Craven, who is on assignment, thank you and good night.